A pile of dead leaves. Such is the price I will have to pay every year for the luxury of having a garden that's shaded most of the day. The trees are on public property, so there is only so much I can do. But rather than subscribe to garden waste disposal or make regular trips to the recycling center, I thought I could put this to work right in my backyard by building a compost bin. For ecological and aesthetic reasons, I decided to go with a wooden slotted compost bin and bought the biggest one I could find at about 1 cubic meter, which happens to be the perfect dimension to do hot composting. I will be placing the bin in the corner of that gravel area, so I started measuring and clearing out a spot as I needed to expose the soil. Under the gravel is a layer of plastic sheets supposed to prevent the growth of plants under the gravel. I removed the gravel and the plastic sheets with a shovel and a broom until I exposed the soil, using the planks to make sure the area I cleared out was big enough. The posts making up the corners of the bin are meant to be buried in the ground. I started measuring and marking the post according to the instruction manual until I realized it would be simpler to lay the planks on top of the posts and mark where the bottom one would end. With that done, I could start digging holes for the posts. For this job, it would have been better to use a post hole digger, but my local DIY shop didn't have any, so I made do with this spade. Regardless of the tool you're using, make sure it has sharp edges, as you might need to cut through some roots. Once I had the first hole dug at the correct depth, I moved on to the next one, using a plank as a spacer. To ensure the posts were at the same depth, I used a spirit level to make sure they lined up properly. Then rinse and repeat for the third post. Oops, made a small mistake here and dug a bit too far away from the other corner. No problem, however, that was an easy fix. Now digging the hole for the last post. I also had to scrape the space between the posts to ensure that the plank would lay flat and at the right level. Now that the site is ready, I can start assembling the compost bin. This bin is designed so that you can remove the front planks to access the compost. You're meant to screw in the bottom planks at the back and on the sides, as well as the top planks on all sides. For some reason, I thought it wouldn't be necessary to screw in the top planks. It absolutely is, because the contents of the bin will push the post outwards. I ended up having to empty the bin and fix it after the fact, so don't be like me and secure the planks as per the assembly instructions. I pre-drilled the holes to prevent the screw from splitting the wood. I made sure the side planks were plumb before fixing them into place. I thought it would be easier to keep everything square if I started assembling the bin on the side rather than in situ, but somehow I still screwed up slightly. I had to unscrew this plank and make sure it was level, after ensuring that the floor it was on was level too. Once the basic structure was built, I dropped it in place, making sure that the posts were plumb and square to each other. Once this was done, I filled the holes back with the dirt I had dug out earlier, regularly checking that the posts were staying plumb as I went along. Then, I slotted the remaining planks in, which you won't see because I had run out of memory cards. It was a snug fit, so I had to use a rubber mallet to get them into place. The next day was for the finishing touches. I put the plastic sheeting back into place, tearing strips of the used ones to place all around the compost bin. I shoveled the gravel back around the bin and the job was complete. All was left to do was to fill it up. After the fact, I learned a few things about composting dead leaves. If you have a mulching mower, you should run the leaves through it, as they'll take much less space and decompose faster. You need to mix greens and browns for hot composting to happen, which I didn't do at the time of recording. But long clippings and kitchen scraps did the trick. I ended up putting a tarp over the bin, because if the contents of the bin get soaked with rain, it won't work as well. So that's it for this build. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the compost when it's done, so if you have any ideas, just let me know in the comments and I will see you in the next one. Bye!